Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Karis May, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Sergeant Matthew Watt. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony from around Australia. During this evening, visitors will be laying wreaths at the base of the Pool of Reflection. To commence this evening's ceremony, I would like to invite you all stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed at the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and other operations for over more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private Edward McClune, who died in France while serving in the First World War. Edward McClune was born in 1889 in Ipswich to Queensland to Edward and Elizabeth McClune. He was one of 6 children born to the couple. By the time the First World War began, both of his parents had passed away and he was living with his eldest brother James in the suburb of Corinda in Brisbane and working as a labourer. McClune enlisted in Brisbane on the 24th of July 1915, and after his initial training was allotted to the 6th Reinforcements to the 25th Battalion. He embarked from Brisbane on the 21st of October aboard the ship Sean B. bound for Egypt. After disembarkation in Alexandria, he was sent to the 7th Training Battalion at Zaiton. At the beginning of March, he was transferred to the 9th Battalion at Habieta and sailed with the battalion to France at the end of the month. The 9th Battalion was sent to the nursery sector and went into the front line near Armentières for the first time in May. The next month, McClune volunteered to join a raiding party being organised and led by Captain Morris Wilder Nelligan. The raiding party trained for several weeks, making nighttime forays into no man's land to familiarise the men with the plan of attack. On the night of the 1st of July, the raid took place. McClune was in the right flank company that entered the trenches and became involved in hand-to-hand fighting with the German occupants. McClune was killed during the fighting. When the signal to retire was given, his body was carried back to the Australian lines. The 9th Battalion left the front line in the early hours of the 2nd of July, and McClune's body was taken back for burial. He was laid to rest in the Rue de Bois military cemetery, along with other fallen members of the raid whose bodies had been recovered. He was 27 years old. Edward McClune's name is listed on the roll of honour on my right, among more than 60,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Edward McClune, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man, lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this evening's last post ceremony. we would like to thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today, and we wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.